30 engineers failed, but the poor delivery girl solved it and left the millionaire CEO speechless. A catastrophic system failure paralyzes the largest tech corporation in the country. 30 engineers can't fix it. A food delivery girl walks in and does. She's the disgraced daughter of a man believed to have poisoned a dozen people. What she doesn't know, her brilliance just made her a target, and the key to a hidden war among the nation's elite. Before we start the story, write in the comments from which part of the world you're watching today. The alarms had been blaring for 18 minutes when she walked in with 3 bags of lukewarm lunch. Leon Corp's main server room, usually a fortress of silence and steady cooling systems, now buzzed with panic. Dozens of engineers huddled over keyboards, shouting over each other, typing and deleting commands in a frenzy. And in the middle of it all stood Arthur Leung, billionaire, visionary, man known for solving problems before they happened, and yet now helpless. Luna Oliveira had no idea any of that. Her eyes scanned the hallway numbers as she balanced 2 steaming packages in her arms and a third on her back. Floor 25, room C47. She pushed the door with her elbow. Delivery for... She stopped. The air was sharp with anxiety. 30 people stared at her as if she'd entered a crime scene. A young assistant manager darted forward. "You need to go. We're in crisis mode." "Got an order for a Mario Leal. Leave it and go." But something in Luna's eyes changed. Her gaze swept over the wall of monitors, the code, the command lines failing to execute. "I know that script," she muttered. "What?" someone barked. She stepped forward. "Your rollback loop is corrupted. You're running the update over a broken base. That's why nothing's deploying." A silence rippled through the room. Someone laughed nervously. "Thanks, miss, but your diagnostics are skipping the redundancy path. Check line 239. No one moved. Annoyed, she dropped the bags on a nearby desk and strode to the terminal. "Hey, you can't..." She typed. 3 lines. Enter. Waited. The screens blinked, and then, all across the network, green confirmations began to appear. She stepped back. Done. It was like watching a bomb disarm itself. The room exhaled all at once. A junior dev whispered, It's working." Arthur Lang hadn't spoken since she entered. Now he stepped closer, slowly, studying her. "Who are you?" he asked. She shrugged, suddenly aware of her stained jacket and messy braid. "Just a delivery girl." The next time Luna entered the building, it was through a private elevator. 3 hours had passed since the incident. She was already regretting her decision to take the CEO's call, but her boss at the cafe had fired her for leaving the shift early, and her landlord had sent a new eviction notice. The elevator doors opened into silence. A corridor lined with abstract art led to a wide office wrapped in glass and steel. Arthur stood by the window, hands in his pockets, watching the city. "Miss Oliveira, please." She stepped inside, arms crossed. "I ran your name through our database," he began. "There's no reason someone like you should know how to patch our system better than our staff." "I watched my dad do it," she said flatly. Arthur turned. "Your father was an engineer." "A chef. But he built some things too. Old restaurant POS systems, inventory software. I learned what I could." Arthur tilted his head. "Carlos Oliveira." Luna stiffened. "Yes." There was a pause. The name was heavy. Everyone knew it. The chef accused of poisoning 13 patrons of a Michelin-starred restaurant. The man who died in prison before the appeal could be heard. Arthur nodded slowly. "I remember. And now you know why I don't belong here." "I disagree," he said. "I think you just saved this company millions. And you think that means I want to work for you? I think it means you can." She stared at him, then slowly her face hardened. "I don't need saving," she said. "I just need a job." "This is a job." "No," she said firmly. "This is a test, a trap, or worse, a story you'll tell at your next gala. The delivery girl who saved the system." Arthur didn't flinch. "You're wrong, but I won't convince you now. So instead, I'll just ask you one question." He walked to his desk, opened a drawer, and pulled out a folded sheet of old paper. He handed it to her. It was a recipe, handwritten. Signed, C.O. I bought the building where your father's last restaurant stood, Arthur said. I found this taped behind a drawer in the kitchen. I think he left it for someone. Luna stared at the note. It was his handwriting. No doubt. Why are you doing this? Because I don't think your father was guilty, Arthur said, and I think you're more than you're pretending to be. For a long time, Luna said nothing. Then she folded the note carefully, tucked it in her coat, and walked out without another word. But she didn't throw the paper away. Not that night. Not ever. The day Luna lost her job, it didn't rain. That would have been too obvious. It was bright, warm, and cruelly quiet. She'd come in 2 hours early to apologize. The cafe manager didn't let her finish. You disappeared during peak delivery. I don't care who you saved. It wasn't this restaurant. You're done. Luna stood there in silence. She didn't beg, didn't cry. She just walked out, with the last paycheck and the weight of 3 overdue bills in her pocket. And yet, her mind wasn't on the money. It was on the paper in her coat pocket. Her father's recipe. She hadn't stopped thinking about it since last night. Hadn't slept either. She remembered that handwriting. She remembered standing on a stool in the restaurant's back kitchen at 8 years old, watching him scribble notes on the walls when the orders were slow. Recipes are like people, he used to say. You have to trust them, but test them anyway. That page was dated 2 weeks before everything collapsed. So why hide it? That evening, Luna got a message on her cracked phone. Arthur Ling. 1 meeting, my office, tomorrow at noon. You choose what happens after that. She stared at the screen for a long minute. Then she typed, Luna, no suit, no spotlight. I come as I am. Arthur, good. I prefer truth to packaging. Leon Corp headquarters, 12:03 p.m. She wore dark jeans, an oversized button-up, and no makeup. Her braid was messy. She didn't try to hide it. Arthur was already waiting in the office, alone, with 2 cups of coffee on the table and a sealed envelope. No cameras, he said. No one even knows you're here. I want that in writing. You have it. He slid the envelope over. Luna opened it. A confidentiality agreement and a job offer. Temporary contract, 6 weeks. Pay grade, executive level. Your role, systems analyst with independence. Luna blinked. This is a joke. No, it's a test, for both of us. She pushed the paper back. What do you want from me? Arthur leaned forward. I want you to see the people who run this country. And realize they're not smarter than you, just better connected. Luna tilted her head. And you want me to owe you something? I want you to find your place. And maybe, just maybe, help me find something too. She paused. Like what? Arthur opened a drawer. He pulled out a thick black file. The investigation into your father's case. What little there was. He slid it over. I've read it, Luna said quickly. I know what it says. Then read what it doesn't. Inside the folder were pages she hadn't seen. A timeline that didn't match what was made public. A name circled in red, Victor Menzies. You know him? Arthur asked. Luna nodded slowly. He was Dad's rival, owned the chain that tried to buy our restaurant. When Dad refused, Menzies swore he'd destroy him. Said it to his face. Arthur watched her closely. I think he meant it. I also think he succeeded. Luna left the building with the file under her arm and too many thoughts in her head. She walked for hours, past the bridge where she and her father used to sit in silence, past the alley where she once got jumped for her delivery bag, past the courthouse where no one listened when she screamed that her father wasn't a murderer. By the time the sun began to set, her decision was made. She sent a message to Arthur at 18:23. Luna, I'll take the offer, but only 6 weeks. Then I'm out. The reply came almost instantly. Arthur, deal. But something tells me you won't leave. Week 1, her ID badge didn't say intern or guest. It said system consultant, level 4. People stared. She knew they would. She was the girl from the glitch, the outsider, the delivery driver who made the engineers look like amateurs. She didn't care. She did her job, better than anyone expected. She fixed a legacy loop that had been failing since 2018. She proposed a low-code patch that simplified 5,000 lines of redundant script. And most importantly, she stayed invisible, until the call came, from the executive floor. Arthur wanted her in a meeting. The room had 12 people, executives, one government liaison, two board members, and Victor Menzies. He was older now, salt and pepper beard, expensive watch, a smile that didn't reach his eyes. He didn't recognize her at first. Then someone said, "She's the one who fixed the crash." And he turned. "You're Carlos Oliveira's daughter." It wasn't a question, it was a warning. Luna didn't blink. "Yes," his lips curled. "You have your father's fire. Let's hope not his judgment." Arthur spoke before she could respond. "We're not here to discuss the past. We're here to assess system security and prepare for the annual Innovation Summit. Let's stay focused." Victor didn't press, but he watched her for the rest of the meeting like a man measuring threat levels. That night, Luna found something unexpected in the file Arthur gave her. A report, buried beneath legal red tape, a witness statement, retracted, name blacked out. But part of a sentence remained, was told to switch the wine crates before the gala. Didn't know it would cause. She read the line 10 times, wine crates, gala, a week before the poisonings. Her hands shook, somebody helped frame her father. And now she was in the same room as one of the men who likely orchestrated it. Only this time, she wasn't a child, and she wasn't leaving quietly. The thing about digging through the past is, sooner or later, it starts digging back. 3 days after the boardroom meeting, Luna found herself in an underground data archive buried beneath Leon Corp's headquarters. Few employees even knew it existed. Arthur had granted her full access. The file was still in her hands. The witness statement, partially redacted, half erased, pulsed in her mind like a second heartbeat. The wine switch, the blacked-out name. She needed to know who had written it, who had tried to confess, and then vanished. She scanned through the surveillance records, event logs, old personnel charts. Most of the digital data had been scrubbed, but there was one handwritten ledger from the night of the gala, with a last-minute replacement listed for catering logistics. A name, Caetano Mura. She didn't recognize it. Yet. The deeper she went, the more she noticed a pattern. Victor Menzies was everywhere. Consultant for the gala, silent investor in the wine distributor used that night, legal counsel to the restaurant group that hosted the event, the very group that pulled strings to get Carlos Oliveira indicted within 48 hours of the incident. Arthur had been right. This wasn't bad luck. It was surgical. And yet, there was something else. A gap. The timeline between the poisonings and the indictment was too short. Someone had to be feeding information to the prosecution in real time. Inside the file, a scribbled note caught her eye. Faded ink. Same pen as the recipe page. "Find Mura. He knows." Her father had written it. Later that night, Arthur was at his penthouse when Luna showed up, soaked from the sudden spring rain, file clutched to her chest. He opened the door himself. She didn't wait for an invitation. "There was a man," she said, "Caetano Mura. Worked logistics. Probably the last person to see the wine before it was served." Arthur closed the door slowly. "You think he sabotaged it?" "I think he knew who did. And I think someone shut him up." Arthur didn't speak for a moment. Then he walked to his desk, opened his laptop and typed something. Within seconds, a search report loaded. "He was a junior supplier. Disappeared the week after your father's death." "Disappeared?" Luna echoed. "No death record. No immigration. No job transfers. He's a ghost." Luna stared at the screen. "Then we find the ghost." The next day, Luna wasn't supposed to attend the innovation dinner. She wasn't an executive. She wasn't on the guest list. But Arthur sent her an encrypted invite with 3 words. "You should see this." The ballroom at the Grand Palacio Hotel glittered with chandeliers, gold trim, and a sea of tailored suits. Every person in the room was someone. She arrived in a simple black dress, no jewelry, hair down, clean, sharp, and unmissable. As she entered, whispers followed. "That's her. The one from the system crash. Carlos's daughter." Victor Menzies was holding court near the center of the room. He spotted her immediately and smiled. It wasn't friendly. Arthur met her by the bar. "I want you to watch something," he said quietly, nodding toward the large screen near the stage. The annual tribute video had begun. A montage of tech innovation, community service, partnerships, all culminating in a segment on food tech. A photo flashed, Carlos Oliveira. Then red text across the screen, revoked partnership 2019. Luna froze. They're still using him, she whispered. Still blaming him. Arthur's jaw clenched. I told them to remove it. They refused. Then he turned to her. I'm going to Lisbon. She blinked. What? I traced a lead on Moura. Someone saw him there. In the Bairro Alto district. I'm flying out tomorrow. She grabbed his arm. You can't go alone. You have a competition in 4 days. I don't care. Luna, he said, you're already doing more than anyone ever expected. But I need someone to hold this place while I'm gone. She hesitated. I don't know if I can. He looked directly at her. You already are. That night Luna returned home, exhausted. The recipe note was still tucked in her coat pocket. She took it out, read it again. One line in her father's handwriting stood out now more than ever. The truth always leaves crumbs. She stared at it, then turned the page over. She had never done that before. On the back was another note. Faint, smudged, a drawing, 3 dots in a triangle, and one word, trust. The next morning, Arthur texted her from the plane. He's real. Moura exists. We'll update soon. She replied, be careful. Then she looked in the mirror and tied her hair back. That day, Leon Corp launched its internal cooking competition, and Luna's name was on the list. She hadn't signed up, but someone had entered her anonymously. The first round began in 72 hours, and her opponent? A celebrity chef with 3 Michelin stars, personally invited by Victor Menzies. The game had begun. They didn't try to scare her first, they skipped straight to sabotage. The morning of the first round, Luna arrived early. The competition kitchen was pristine. Stainless steel surfaces, induction hobs, color-coded knives. Each station had identical ingredients, all labeled, weighed, and recorded under supervision. She checked everything twice. Then she checked again. But whoever had done it quietly, professionally, and without a trace. Her saffron was fake. The moment she opened the jar, she knew. The smell was wrong, the strands too thick. It was tinted straw, not real saffron, and anyone with a trained palate would catch it instantly. She scanned the kitchen, no cameras, no supervisors nearby. She pulled out her phone to take a picture, but the jar slipped, shattering across the floor. Sabotage, came a voice behind her. She turned. It was her opponent, Estella Vilar, elegant, poised, older, and utterly lethal in the culinary world. A judge on televised competitions, owner of 4 restaurants, and Menzies' longtime protégé. I didn't touch your ingredients, Estella said, eyes calm, but it's brave of you to suggest I might. I didn't say anything. You didn't have to. A pause. Then Estella leaned closer, voice low. Drop out. You don't belong here. And if you humiliate yourself today, no one will remember your father. They'll only remember the girl who thought a last name could earn her skill. Luna didn't reply. She bent down, picked up the saffron shards with her bare hands, and walked away. 30 minutes later, the round began. Each contestant had 90 minutes to prepare a dish, showcasing heritage through innovation. The judges, 3 CEOs and 1 former Michelin critic, were seated behind mirrored glass. Estella went for fusion, a delicate scallop ceviche with Brazilian tucupi foam and truffle pearls. Luna stared at her empty saffron container and adjusted her plan on the fly. No paella, no risotto, no shortcuts. Instead, she reached for the ingredients her father always called truthful: root vegetables, stock bones, and citrus peels. She began crafting something far more difficult: a broth-based moqueca de peixe, but without the fish. A vegetarian reinterpretation using smoked hearts of palm and a makeshift chili oil from dried peppers she crushed by hand. It was bold and risky. She plated with 7 seconds to spare. When the tasting began, Luna stood at her station, heart hammering. Estella's dish was first. The critic called it balanced, technically precise, but emotionally distant. Then Luna's turn came. 1 bite, then another. Silence. Then, whoever made this, the critic said slowly, knows how to cook from memory, not trend. This tastes like belief. The crowd murmured. Estella's face tightened. Luna didn't smile, but her hands stopped shaking. Backstage, she was wiping her station when her phone buzzed. Arthur, she answered on the first ring. His voice was strained, breathing fast. Something was wrong. I found Mura. A pause. And? He talked. More silence. He confessed to switching the wine crates, said he was paid, cash, offshore. Gave me a name. Luna braced. Victor Menzies. She closed her eyes. He said your father begged him to come forward. That's why he disappeared. He was threatened, said they would kill him if he ever testified. And you believed him? She asked. I recorded it. Then a pause. A noise in the background. Like metal scraping. Luna, I have to go. I think someone's following. The line went dead. That night, no answer, no update, no Arthur. Luna paced her apartment until dawn. At 6:30, she got a message from an encrypted number. He's alive. He's in hospital. Minor injuries. Attempted robbery, they said, but it wasn't random. She exhaled so sharply she had to sit down. Later, she would find out the full story. Someone had run Arthur off the road outside Lisbon. Car totaled, phone destroyed. Mura had vanished again, but the audio survived, and Arthur had emailed it to her just before the crash. She played the file. It was grainy, wind in the background, but Mura's voice was clear. It was Menzies. He said Carlos was too proud, too honest. He wanted that place. Said he'd ruin him if he didn't sell. I swapped the bottles. I didn't know the wine was poisoned, I swear. Luna replayed it, again and again. Then she uploaded it, encrypted, to a secure drive just in case. The next round of the competition was in 48 hours. And she knew exactly who would try to stop her. Public backlash came the next morning. Someone had leaked her family history to the press. Daughter of poison chef invited to elite competition. Murderer's legacy. Can talent be inherited or guilt? Social media turned vicious. Old headlines resurfaced. Conspiracy forums exploded. Sponsors for the event issued cold, neutral statements. Luna said nothing. She just showed up for the next round and cooked. This time, someone had tampered with her station wiring. Her induction stovetop wouldn't heat. The official offered to disqualify her or reschedule. She refused both. Instead, she asked for a raw flame burner, an old one kept in storage for emergencies, one barely anyone used anymore, but Luna had learned on worse. She adjusted every timing, changed her entire mise en place, and plated 10 seconds before the bell. This time, she didn't just pass. She won. That evening, she received a package. No name, no return address. Inside, a copy of her father's old knife. The blade was engraved with 3 dots in a triangle. The same symbol from the back of the recipe note. Attached, a scrap of card. One word. Soon. In a silent kitchen, before the world wakes up, you can hear your heartbeat. And if you listen closely, someone else's too. The final round was broadcast live, nationwide. It wasn't just about cooking anymore. It never had been. Luna stood behind her station, eyes fixed, hands steady. Across the kitchen, Estella Villa smirked, cameras dancing around her like satellites. She'd arrived with a personal makeup team, a PR manager, and a statement outfit. Deep crimson, knives in the pockets. The competition theme, legacy. 1 dish, 2 hours, no mistakes. And seated in the front row of the judging panel, Victor Menzies. In the hours before the finale, Luna had released the audio. Not to the press, to the public. She uploaded it to an open access site with one line: the truth should not be silent. Within minutes, it spread. The backlash came fast, then flipped. Headlines changed tone. New evidence surfaces in Oliveira case. Menzies named in audio confession. Prosecutors announced a motion to reopen the investigation. A petition for posthumous exoneration of Carlos Oliveira passed 50,000 signatures by noon. Luna didn't read any of it. She was already in the kitchen. Countdown, 120 minutes. She opened her bag. No assistant, no scripts, no tricks, just her father's blade, the one from the package, and the original recipe, the one he left behind. Moqueca. But this time, his way. Not modernized, not refined, not adjusted for luxury. She would make the dish exactly as he had taught her at age 11, over a coal stove in a cramped kitchen with fresh coconut milk made from scratch and broth stirred with one hand while reading aloud from a cookbook she barely understood. She could still hear his voice in her mind. The secret's not in the ingredients. It's in the love you put into them. Across the room, Estella plated something stunning, duck in violet cassava glaze, garnished with micro-herbs arranged like a painting. Flashbulbs clicked, judges nodded, impressed. And then it was Luna's turn. She stepped forward with a single clay bowl, no garnish, no frills. Just steam, color, and scent so rich, one judge visibly leaned forward without realizing it. They tasted in silence. The critic put down her spoon. Her eyes glistened. "This isn't cuisine," she said. "It's memory." Then came the vote. 3 judges. 1 vote for Estella, 1 for Luna. Final vote, the former Michelin critic. A beat of silence. Then, Luna Oliveira. The room didn't erupt. It held its breath. Then applause, louder, real, even from those who had doubted her. She didn't smile, not right away. Instead, she looked at the camera, straight into it, and said, "This is for my father, Carlos Oliveira, a chef, a man of integrity. And now, finally, an innocent man." Victor Menzies stood and left the hall. He did not return. By the end of the week, prosecutors subpoenaed his financial records. Mura resurfaced, under protection. The reopened case made front-page news. Within 2 months, Carlos Oliveira's name was cleared. And Luna? She turned down 3 contracts, 4 endorsements, and 1 6-figure publishing deal. Instead, she used her prize money to reopen her father's restaurant. Same name, same kitchen, new legacy. 1 year later, Luna stood in her restaurant's kitchen, a small firelit space smelling of onions, garlic, and lime. Arthur Ling sat at the bar, sleeves rolled, sipping broth from a wooden bowl. "You know," he said, "we never really finished our 6-week deal." She ladled more into his bowl. "You still think I'll come back to tech?" He smiled. "No, I think you're running your own company now. Same principles, different medium." She nodded, then turned back to her pot, where the real work always was.